What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Gotians Games and welcome back to another Teppen video. Today's video, we are going to be looking at an interview that Game Press did at Anime Expo. It's talking to both Gungho and Capcom. Talking about, there was a lot of discussion in this interview, so we're not going to look at everything in detail in this interview. I'm going to skip around a bit. I'm going to leave a link so you guys can read the interview for yourself because there's a lot of stuff in here. I'm going to touch on some of the key things that I picked up from this interview that I thought was really interesting, and specifically the parts where they talk about the game moving forward. So make sure you guys are hitting that like button, subscribing if you guys are new. Let's take a look at this interview and how their partnership worked and everything else fell along the way, you know, for the better of this game. So apparently, when they asked how the whole thing started with Capcom and Gungho working together to make Teppen, it actually started from one of the producers, the Capcom producer, Ryozo. I'm not going to pronounce the name. I'll butcher names. I'm just going to say from Capcom. It started from Capcom that apparently they played Puzzles and Dragons, which is a Gungho game. And he was playing it while he was playing Monster Hunter as well. So he thought that it was a good game, and he wanted to get in touch with Gungho and work on a game together. And so one of the things that he spoke about was that they have all these Capcom IPs and that they're very popular, and he wants to include those. Like an all-star Capcom game, which is something that they've kind of done in the past with different games. They've had crossovers many times. Marvel's Capcom, for instance, they had Project Cross Zone and many other games that they've went ahead and crossed over with. So this wouldn't be the first time that they did like an all-star cast or anything of that kind of nature. But specifically, they wanted to do a mobile version or mobile game. So that's what they went ahead and did. And apparently, they've been working on this game for 2 years. Which, to be honest, it shows that they've been working on the game for a while. If you play the game, you can tell that there's a lot of attention to detail for a lot of the different things. For example, the music, you can hear nuances of the music from, like, for example, Street Fighter. You can hear music from, for example, let's say Mega Man. You could hear it from not so much Resident Evil yet. Not so, maybe it's there, but just little nuances. Like, also, for example, when you decide on your flag for your character, that's a Street Fighter thing. That's taken straight from Street Fighter, because every fighter from Street Fighter represents what country they're from. So the little flag that you choose for your country, that's taken out from Street Fighter. So it's little nuances like that, which they went ahead and included into it, and I'm very happy for that. The only thing that I see that they should have included would be like different stages from various games. So like if you're playing Mega Man X, then have like a stage from a Mega Man X game, or if you're playing against like Ryu, then have Ryu stage from Street Fighter. Things like that, like I think would have gone a long way. Instead, most of the time it's just a generic background. So let's scroll down a little bit, because again, this will be a very long interview. I'll put it for you guys to read it for yourself. Let's scroll down here. So what's the goals with Teppen? There's a lot of people, lots of promotion going on. You have people streaming the game, and afterwards it might even be an esports scene. So they're talking about esports, which is actually really cool, because I can see this being an esports type of game. So Capcom responded, in the world of Teppen, there's a place called Planet Illusion. It's actually made for just this game. At Planet Illusion, they're trying to compete and find the best hero. The word Teppen, if you directly translate it, it means top of the mountain or number one. That's interesting, because I didn't even piece that together. So that means, Gungho is now responding. So that means for the end game, there's another peak where players, as well as for esports, they increase and define their skills to become the number one, the top of the world. In this Coliseum, this is where the online tournaments with the esports will be at. Interesting, because Coliseum we can't access yet. So does that mean it's going to be a worldwide online tournament? I think that would be fantastic. That would be completely separate from PvP aspect of it. I mean, granted, it's still PvP, but that's interesting. It's very interesting. You'll be the ones hosting the esports competition. Will you be welcoming community tournaments where players' communities are hosting the tournaments? Will there be plans for that as well? Yes, absolutely. I'm excited for that, only because I've mentioned that I would like to hold tournaments in my Discord and tournaments on live streaming like that. And the only way to do something like that is to have a way to take a look at everything. And in all honesty, like, currently there really isn't a way to do that. And moving forward, I'm glad that that's something that they're looking at doing. So Secret Project Teppen, they're talking about how they kept it a secret the entire time, how nobody knew anything about it except the people working on it, and why the kind of launch that they did, because it was very unconventional. And Capcom responded Capcom and Gungho responded in a in a good way, to be honest with you. So if we scroll down, let's see, where was it? Let's see. So they talked about it before. Right now they're talking about fighting each other, but okay, marketing. So they were talking about here how instead of having promotional videos, they preferred to have streamers playing the game. So like myself, I was one of the people that were given the game to stream as part of a sponsored live stream. And so they thought it would be more interesting to do it that way as a promotional aspect for it. So they also go along the line to say, for instance, for esports, we had a big screen showing the gameplay and got people super excited for it. Showing the actual playing of the game will probably get more people into it, which is true. I mean, you could show trailers all day, every day, but actually playing the game is what makes it more interesting. Seeing people play the game and you being able to play the game with those people, it brings it to a whole nother type of promotional level. Basically, you believe the game can market itself if people got the chance to see it. Would you say this is a very community-driven marketing campaign? And yes, they do agree to that. It's a very community-driven marketing campaign. Case in point, look at the Discord for Teppen. It was started by one person who goes by the name of Zero Shoryuken. He started the Teppen Discord, and there's, I think, over 2,000 people in that Discord now. It's fantastic. The Reddit page itself, again, it's fantastic. So many people have joined it. On my Discord as well, on my Facebook page, people have been joining nonstop for this game, and it's amazing how driven the community is, how much involved everybody in the community has become for this game. It's fantastic. They did it. I think they did a really good job with releasing this game. And yes, it would have been cool to have trailers here and there, but I think as a surprise game, I think it was much, much more well received in that kind of instance. So then they go and talk about different aspects as far as like how the competitive play goes. So even though it's a card game, it has action gameplay elements in there. For example, comboing, using these units and using action cards, and started the comboing with those kind of card combinations and then beat the other person. Again, it goes back to the whole the little nuances that they added into the game. Like, for example, Ryu, from being a fighting character from a fighting game, typically in fighting games you do combos. So what is one of Ryu's hero traits or hero card arts that he uses? Well, he basically does the Shoryuken, which then activates combo on whatever character or whatever card you choose to use it on, which again is something straight out of Street Fighter. So I think it's a really good thing, or a little good implementation from a Capcom game, and I can't wait to see what they do with other heroes moving forward to be able to grow the game. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun coming up in the future expansions and whatnot. So then they talk about, even though it's let's see. So I want people to connect with the game, not just like big tournaments, but even the community making their own tournament and starting their own events, which is what I was talking about. I want to have people spread and being connected to each other, even if it's a small community inside their own area. So it sounds like this is a game that is going to have a very high skill ceiling. It's not just you have skills, but there's going to be great differentiation between people who is not as good as the game versus people who are very, very good at the game. Very easy to get into, but at the same time very hard to master, which it is. It is. I can tell you that from right now. Like, deck building is very important in the game. Sometimes you have players like me who don't want to follow what other people are doing, like what's meta. And so typically we tend to build our own decks just because we like certain cards or we like the way that they interact with other cards. And so that's how we build them. It might not always work all the time, but we have fun doing it. And for me, deck building is one of the more fun aspects of this game. Not so much like, yes, the PvP aspect of it is cool. I enjoy it. But I much rather just like build a brand new deck and tweak the deck here and there and take that into PvP, even though it might not be the best thing for that type of situation. What kind of directions do you hope to take the game in, like more characters or new mechanics to be introduced? There's already a plan that we're adding new characters and new heroes and also new packs in the future. We already knew that new packs are going to be coming, and I mean, we could only assume that new character heroes are going to be coming in the game. But we don't know how often they're going to be implementing that type of stuff. We don't know if it's going to be like every season, which the seasons, it looks like the season's probably about 2-3 months long. We don't know if it's going to be every 2 weeks like most gacha games do. It's like every 2 weeks is a new hero or whatever that you go and collect. So it'd be interesting to see. We'll be eventually saying the announcement of who's going to be the next hero. They'll be coming pretty soon. My thing is, I want them to be free because we already have the card packs and all that stuff. So keep the heroes free, and then the card packs, you know, we can save up coins or Zenny. We can save up Zenny to open them, or we can buy jewels if we want to. Can we expect more Capcom IPs? Yeah, we're not restricted to just the 8 characters we have now. Yes, you could look forward to others, new IPs as well. I would love to see, like, Frank West. Some people wanted Arthur from... was it Ghosts and Goblins or Ghouls and Goblins or something like that? I forgot the name of the game. I'd like to see, is it Regina from Dino Crisis? I think that's her name. I forgot. I'm not 100% sure. I forgot. I'd like to see her, you know, Leon or Claire, Jill preferably. Be honest with you, just I love Jill. It's my favorite character. But anyways, who's gonna be? You'll be surprised. That's probably the most exciting part of this project. Honestly, for me it is, because then it adds so much variation. There's so many Capcom games out there, and especially like obscure Capcom games that not a lot of people might have been big on. Some people, I think they were asking for Ace Attorney to be in the game, which is a Capcom game. You know, like I could take out freaking Project Cross Zone right here and start spouting off a whole bunch of characters, you know? Like, I would love to see, like, old school Mega Man characters. Like, Roll would be a good option. Or what's... Oh, God, I can't think of his name right now. Not Zero. Not Zero. Anyways, you guys probably know who I'm thinking of. I can't think right now of who I'm talking about. But I'd like to see, like, maybe Dimitri from... Darkstalkers in there, like just any of these characters that you like that's in this game. I mean, like I said, Frank West would be a great addition. Hell, even Zero. I know a lot of people would be wanting Zero. Ken would be great. Put Ken in the game, like for real. You got Ryu, you gotta have his buddy Ken. But there's so many different things. Why Teppen? I mean, they kind of already went over why Teppen, to be honest. So that's the article. I will go ahead and leave this down for you guys. I mean, there's so much in here. Like, they talk more about esports, like what's the plan right here. When will you be announcing that? If you don't mind revealing it, we'll be announcing it very soon. We are planning the offline world championship. We'll be announcing the details for that as well. That'd be interesting. I'd like to see how that plays out in the future. This is going to be something to keep an eye for moving forward. Capcom as a company is massive. They have so many different properties to choose from, so many different games that they can bring characters in. It's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait, and I hope you guys are excited for it as well. Make sure, like I said, keep an eye on the channel, hit the like button, subscribe if you guys are new, all that fun stuff. I'll leave a link to this as well as the Discord link for the Teppen Discord if you guys want to join them as well and join the community over there. It's massive at this point. And I will catch you all later. Thank you so much for watching today. I really do appreciate it. You guys have a great rest of your day. Peace out, guys.